and welcome back to part 3 for Hat in Time. This time we're going to focus on those time rifts I talked about the previous part, but I'm also going to be trying to finish off what we can do in Mafia Town. And there'll probably be a lot of exploring because I only explored half the island, so there's still another half of the island we need to run through and show off. But firstly, the reason why I'm showing off the second chapter area here is that if you have the brewing hats, you can break through this and get all the way to a secret art room back here, which is our introduction to the time rifts. You touch them, everything freezes, and it will pull you into it. Oh, sorry, not art room, a gallery. Right, now if you've played Super Mario Sunshine, this will look awfully familiar to you. Scattered throughout the game are these time rifts, and they are platforming challenges with really lovely music playing in the background, where they just test what you can do in a very basic space. Because this is what it is, you're in a very basic system area, and you just got to crack your way through it. I really enjoyed this. I wish there was more of them, but there is a set amount. Because there's 2 in the ship, and then there's 2 in every chapter onwards. There's also an additional one that's different from the others, that's kind of cool in its own way, that we'll get to when we get to them. So that's a healthy 10 time rifts to deal with, plus the additional ones, but it's just, I kind of wish there were more. If they ever make a sequel, I'm sure they'll do more with this. But I just love it. I just really enjoy it. It's just basic platforming with beautiful music. And as you look around, sometimes you can spot, like they've animated fish and whales and things like that in the background that are casually moving in the background space, and they move at random in the background to such an extent that sometimes, if you're lucky, they can actually move quite close to you, and you can see them and just see how much like detail they tried to put into these things that are essentially background objects. And you can hear them as well. You can see in the outlines of how far away they are. But I just really like these play spaces, the time rifts. I really enjoy them. I enjoy what they did with them and how they built them, and I think it's really cool. And every time you beat a time rift, you get this. If you've been collecting the rift tokens, taking to the rift machine, you already know what this is, but there's a random collectible, and it's completely cosmetic, that you can get. The slot machine cosmetic I was saying about the either last part or the part before. And doing them allows you, like I said, just to get cosmetics. You can get different designs on your hat. You can get different colouring. You can get remixes or set tracks in it as well, and a few other little bits and bobs. Problem is, it's physically impossible for you to get all of them in one go, which is a bit annoying. They did it knowing full well that the modding community would be stepping in, and that's why they made it so you couldn't get all of them. Which is, yeah, it's cool if you're on the PC version, because the modding community have done their fair share with this. But outside of that, it's a bit like, oh, okay.
But I guess you aliens come in all shapes and sizes, huh?
And Cooking Cat's here now. Oh no, sorry, Cooking Cat, because, I don't mind that the actor or actress or whatever the fuck voices Cooking Cat here. I just don't like how much effort they have to put into Cooking Cat. It doesn't feel right. But I'll shut up for the rest of the relic explanation, even though you already know it. Actually, I won't shut up, because you already do fucking know it. I told you in the previous part. You collect relics, and some relics relate to others. There's stands around the ship, but you put them together, and you'll unlock a special, unique time rift in that world that's separate from the normal 2, that we'll get to as we go. There's 4 actual relics you can build up. It's highlighting the burger here, because in Mafia Town you can find the bottom half of the burger, and now you see all these podiums, and okay, Cooking Cat, you're alright. Oh, we don't have enough, fuck. What? Oh, 1 pon. That's, oh, fuck that. Well, we'll know what we're doing later, but let's go into the next chapter of Mafia Town. I think next is Golden Vault. Yep, we can't unlock that one anyway. You only have a fucking 99. And look, they're saying time rift detected. And if you go onto them, it will be a picture of the area area it is. You got to find them. All of them except the ones in chapter 3 I know off by heart. The ones in chapter 3, when we get to them, I'll show you what I mean. But I just think chapter 3's main space is a bit too big for its own good. It's a lovely chapter, and it's got some of my best like my favourite missions and best moments in the game in Chapter 3. But the actual location itself, we'll get to it when we get to it, but it's easy to lose your bearings. Anyway, our chapter for the Golden Vault is simply get the 4 tickets to open it, or the vault codes even. But I'll collect like 1 to show you what I mean, but after that I'll be focusing more on exploring, because as I said, there is another half of this we haven't explored out yet. Oh hey! You're just looking for these. If you've been collecting for the other vaults, you already know what this objective is. It's just like the logical conclusion of them. Right, if you want a trophy, slide and then just let this carry you down to the bottom of it. You should have probably been cut up by those, but never mind. Oh, what? Am I not? Get up there, Hat Kid. I'm holding forward. Is it because you haven't touched? Yeah, I think it's because she hadn't touched actual ground. She went back into the water, so it hadn't reset her wall climb properly. Even that shouldn't be a problem because you can wall jump, but what do I know? There's 5 of these guys. I mentioned in the previous part. You find all of them, kick them off. There's a trophy in it for you. But although I didn't look up to find them, I'd recommend you do, because they're kind of annoying. Like, you'll just kind of catch them in the corner of your eye eventually and go, "Are you fucking serious?" when you see them. They're not in locations that are easy to find. Some of them, they're in annoying locations that you'll just miss. We've got more than enough ponds now, but I will be like destroying and getting everything we can as we go. So we head over to the ship. And this guy's been reset, so we can kill him again and kill these guys again for extra ponds. On your first run, you'll find yourself low on ponds all the time, but once you've beaten it, and I can imagine it won't be too bad as well, but once you've beaten it, your amount of ponds you have just skyrockets, because you know what you need, you know what you want. You don't need to buy everything again. On my first run, I brought every single badge I came across just to try them out. But I've only got 3 in mind that I want. And one of them you don't even buy, one of them you get given in Chapter 3. Let's have a look. Look, this is my other one. The scooter badge, that's kind of nice, but that's quite expensive. It changes your sprint hat into the scooter, which has better momentum on it if you want to get, like, and better momentum physics when you're going up and down terrain. And it's also naturally faster than a normal sprint to sprint hat, so that might be something ideal if you want to race through levels as quick as you can. I won't be bothering with it though, but I will still show it off at one point in this game, just to show you what it can do and what it's like. As in, if you get an extra yarn ball. I love the music that plays in Mafia Town. I don't know if this plays in every chapter, but the one that plays in at least this, well, not every act even, but the one that plays in this act is just so friendly yet ready for adventure. I love it. It's just so nice and joyful is the only way to put it. Oh, if we get an extra heart pond, that'd be nice. Oh, I was hoping we'd hit that. And bouncing off balloons counts as sort of similar to an enemy step. It will reset your double jump and dive. I think we can reach that now. Even though we're supposed to wait until we get something later on. Yeah, we can reach that. So we can't stand on those. Even though they're visible, they're not physical. You can sit down and join that mafia on the chair if you want. I won't be, though. Oh, there's this over here as well. This is the second and last of the connected up ones that you get in Mafia Town, and doing it actually does something. It's the only one in the game that actually does something other than give you extra ponds. See, it pushes up all this. It doesn't stay like this. The moment you leave this act and go into a different one, or even come back to this one again, the moment you leave, it resets it down. Oh, I forgot about this vault here. There's a green vault down here on the beach side. 6 codes. Alright, sweet. More than the actual gold one we're doing the mission for. Oop. Just listen to that music. It's just so... I'm going to shut up and let the music play a bit. Just listen to it. It's so playful and nice. I just,
Bye.
the soundtrack in this game is masterfully done. The boss fight music is so aggressive and yet effective as boss fight music. When you're exploring, the music they have that plays for you just exploring and seeing the world go is just such a spike of adventure. It makes you get into the mood for exploring and just have a joyful, like good old time with this game. And I love it. It's such a beautiful soundtrack for this game. But it had so many different composers in it as well. I'll point it out, like when we beat the game and the credits are rolling. I'll point out there's a shit ton of people that helped do the compositions on this. A bunch of different artists, including some familiar names like Grant Kirkhope, the guy who did Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle soundtrack, which is an amazing soundtrack, by the way. With how limited the dress code is around here, it's not surprising the place is boarded up. But if Grant Kirkhope also did ukulele, but I think, like, although ukulele soundtrack is alright, I can't help but feel like he was focusing more on Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, because that soundtrack was fucking amazing compared to... Alright. It was absolutely amazing compared to ukulele, or compared to anything. It was just a good soundtrack. Ow. I think he should drop a yarn ball. Yep. I'm trying to collect a bunch of yarn now so then I don't have to worry about it too much later on. Because if we get enough to reach the criteria to make them now...
Go away. Mafia watching shows. High interest in bloodline.
So I keep like stopping and starting with this game because I just love listening to the bullshit that happens as we go through. It's just so... I want to say child friendly, but it's not, because it is. It's more family friendly because it's something that everyone can enjoy with, and that's why I liked about a lot of games that used to be in the childhood. But now it feels like developers are too keen on making it a fixed split between child friendly and not child friendly, instead of the whole family friendly style where there was humor and quips that was there for the adults that are watching with the kids, that the adults would get and find funny but go over the kids' head. And there was stuff that was there for the kids that was a bit too childish for the adults to really care about, but it was nice for the kids, and it just had that nice balance where everyone could sit down and enjoy something with it. And you just don't see it anymore. I don't know if they're just too scared that a child might accidentally catch on to something or what, but like, remember the original seasons of SpongeBob, and then you go back and watch them and realise just how many sly, dirty jokes they squeezed into it that you just don't notice when you were a kid, but now you're older, you go back to it and go, oh god, and you find it funny in a whole new light. That's what I mean, and we just don't see it anymore. It's just too happy-go-lucky, child-friendly with no real humour for anyone over the age of 8, or stuff that's way too much for any child to watch without either being traumatised or not getting it. And I think that's why I enjoyed so much about Hat in Times. It reminds me of that bit in my childhood where it was the family-friendly stuff, because this game does have quite a few little bits that are for the grown-ups as well, but it has a lot of bits for the children. It's a very all-around enjoyable game. And it's not that long either. I already said I expect this to not take 15 parts. And the only reason this part is taking so long is because of how much time I've spent exploring, clearing everything up. Even though I know I'm probably not getting much done, and people who want to see me just get a move on are probably getting a bit annoyed. I apologise, I just want to explore a bit first. And it's the only real chapter I'll explore that much. Because chapter 2... for as amazing as it is, a lot of it's relatively linear, so I won't be bothering exploring too much. And chapter 3, I'll be exploring that as well, but I'll be running around like a headless chicken, so I'll be cutting a lot of that down, probably. So then you only see the bits where stuff actually happens, or I'll get a move on with it. In chapter 4, I know exactly where I'm going to get through it as quick as possible. But chapter 4, for people who have played this game, they might be like, okay, what? But I plan to get it done within 2 parts. They might be 2 very long parts. Like, I'm expecting both of them to be around an hour long. But I'm thinking I can get it done in 2 parts. So I won't be messing around, dawdling, things like that. I'll be doing exactly what I need to do as I need to do it, and nothing else. And I think the last ticket's on the boat here. Here it is.
All mine.
Let's have a bit of platforming trouble. Again. There we go. So I like to show off. I like to go and hop off the balloons and bounce. It's so nice and cool. Oh, there's a chest there. Oh, I was hoping I'd grab onto it. Alright, let's get up there and try it again. There we go. Oh. What do we get? Oh, another yarn ball. I'm hoping for relics, but I think we've got most, if not all, of the relics that are here. If I miss one, I'll go back and get it at like a later point, but I think I've got them all. Right, yeah, let's head back to the middle now. We've got it all and get our timepiece and get out of here, because we spent a hell of a lot of time in here, admittedly. We spent the past like 12 minutes just running around exploring, so I think that's more than enough. Let's get out of this and finish up the chapter. Or act. I need to stop saying chapter, because this is chapter 1, act 6, I think, even though we haven't done act 5. We'll go back to that in a bit. We just didn't have enough ponds to get into it. Every time we come back to the hub now, it will highlight chapter 2 because we opened it up. But let's build this relic first. Now we've actually got enough ponds to make it. Once it's made, it will let you know. It said, it's a match. You've identified a relic from this strange planet, even though it's a burger. To us, it's just something strange for her, because obviously she's an alien. And now this pink-ish time warp will appear there for time rift. And that's what I mean by it's a unique one. I think we can build this one. Yes, we can. This one's for chapter 2, so we won't worry about it yet. And it's one of the easier ones to find in the game. Like, you'll just stumble upon it yourself without even trying. But now I think that's more the nature of the beast with chapter 2, because there's a lot of cool areas, but almost all of them are quite linear. Like, either that or they're not that big spaces, which I didn't mind because it was enjoyable. But there's a purple or pink or whatever you want to choose. I call them purple. Time rift. And that's where it is. So I'm going to head back to the Golden Vault, because it's an easy chapter to go to, and I'm going to go collect it. I'll open this up first. Yeah, that's heating up Mafia Town. Right, if you circle around the edge of the island, you'll find this beach area with 2 giant slides. We've been here a few times. The Time Rift, our unique purple one, is here. So the purple ones are very different from the normal Time Rifts. Because instead of being a platforming challenge, well, there's still platforming challenges in it, but instead of just being a platform challenge, it works as a collectathon. There's 2 sets of different collectibles you're working through. One to beat the area, and one to build up a book. Like this here. You'll build up a picture book to get an idea of what happened before you turned up. But I'll shut up and let the Mafia dude explain how this works.
Hit Mafia in head, and now Time Rift filled with Mafia thoughts and dreams. This Time Rift is simple. Simple like Mafia. Just how Mafia like it. Rules of Time Rift. If you die, you start over. You need rift pawns to go deeper. That is all the rules. Please tread carefully in Mafia Time Rift. Mafia like to experience past.
This is another track in the soundtrack I really enjoy, because it's just so tranquil and peaceful. Yeah, it's got an element of mystery and uniqueness to it, because these are very strange areas. The objective is to collect these rift ponds. It says a number above... Oh shit. There's a number above these here, and it says 3, so we need 3 rift ponds to open it. However, there's always more than the required amount in the area, so go out of your way to collect them, because then if you get stuck or can't find them in a later bit, you can get some leniency with it. And you'll see every time we go down a floor, the music slightly changes to add to the bizarreness of it. So this is probably one of my favourite tracks in the game, because it's just so weirdly, tranquilly beautiful, but it's got this really uneery, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just so different and weird, but cleverly made. And some of these like rift ponds are actually strapped to enemies, so we have to take them down to get access to them. When you collect enough, there will always be an audio cue to let you know you've got enough. That always sounds quite dour and just like do, but it's there. Because I want to get every pond as we go. There we go. I think that's all of them for this bit. There's no rift ponds in this area. This is just a congrats, you know how it works now.
Unspent rift ponds are
And now that is where the Mafia is going to explain that there's more than you need to. So you don't have to get every single one, or you can get every single one to make the next one easier. And he's opened it for us, but don't press along straight away. You climb up back here, there's another picture. I know where they all are for chapter 1 and chapter 3, but 2 and 4, there's one I'm missing in both. I don't know where all the pictures are. And if I don't manage to get lucky in finding them as we go, I'll probably go out of my way to get them to show them in like an extra part. Like after I beat the game. Right, let's move on. I don't think there's any pictures here. I'm pretty sure there isn't. So I'm pretty sure the next one's in the last bit. Here. Because it's behind us under the bridge. This bridge. Yep. That's all of them. So we're getting a picture book. So the picture books are just a bit of background on what happened before Hat Kid arrived. And so they're quite nice little bit of trivia. And of course these are the mafias that throw shit, so they die in one hit. That audio cue is one I was on about, which says you can now progress forward. But let's get the last ones. Because I like to say I like to get them all. Even though I don't need to. And let's drop down. And when you finish, you'll find the same purple time rift, but it will be physical, so you can break it, and it drops a load of ponds. There we go. We're already at 7 timepieces. We're cracking along fast. And because we've got our picture book, the Mafia's Grand Voyage. So, at some point their home wasn't working. The boss dreamed of having an island to themselves. They hopped on a ship, went over, discovered an island, and took it over. Simple story. And we get our spin. Let's have a look. Dark colours, eh. Oh, no. Alright, fine. I guess we'll take the freedom then. Oh, I don't like that bright yellow colour. It just looks a bit grim, in my opinion. And because we've now got 7, it's going to highlight that we can now enter the 3rd chapter. But we won't be yet, because we haven't even started the 2nd bloody chapter, so we're not going to have jumped gun and go to the 3rd. But at some point during the 2nd, we'll leave it to go to chapter 3, because we won't be able to continue, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Anyway, I don't want to do Heating Up Mafia Town next, so I think I'm going to go after that next time rift, so I'm going to cut. Right, we did see it when we was exploring. It's down here. I've tried to get far enough away from it, so you can hopefully, if you're following along, see it and get an idea where it is. But it's down here in this river bit, where I can get up there. There we go. And after this, there's only one more time rift, but we need to... I think we have to beat Heating Up Mafia Town to get the next time rift to unlock for us to find. And the beautiful music comes back. And this one's a lot easier. You're paying attention and timing when to jump to move from the blocks. I would say it's disappearing, reappearing, but it's not. It's sliding in and out. It's just in a 2D game, this would be a disappearing, reappearing blocks. See, that was easy. This section I always line up the camera behind me just to keep it accurate. Like it's thick enough that it's not too bad, but I just like to keep an eye. So I'd rather be going across it straight than slip up. I don't know if I'll be fast enough to make this. Never mind, I got it. Oop. None of them are too hard, like the time rift puzzle things. They're just nice little things to pass the time for you to do. That's 8. God, I said it before, but we're going so fast. Like, I said less than 15 parts, but it's definitely gonna be less. Oh yes, I want that. I like that hood for the sprint hat instead. Yeah, I know. It's going to keep on highlighting, but look at it. It's just a cute little hood with the hair flicking out the back. Well, with a gap for the head to flick out the back. Alright, let's do heating up Mafia Town. This one, as you can tell, something's happened and the entire town is having some, well, lava issues. Look at that, the entire water supply has changed to lava, and so, yeah. Also worth pointing out is that the entire bottom layer of the island is now completely inaccessible because the lava is actually at a higher level to where the water would normally be. Someone turned on all the faucets in Mafia Town. Some folks controlled the town's volcano. I wonder if it was Mustache Girl, the person who hates the Mafia and vows to take them down. She clearly doesn't need the timepieces to take down the Mafia if she can just turn them all on. Like, she doesn't need them at all. So I don't know why she's trying so hard to get them, and she can clearly cause trouble for them without it. Anyway, this chapter's this act, is very simple. You're heading over to all the facets and whacking them until they turn off. This mission can be quite long though because they're all spaced out. See, you do that and then they're off, so you can move on to the next one. I like the music that plays in this chapter as well, where it's supposed to sound like a lava-y, heated up version of the normal music that plays. Because this is like the standard musical instruments that are used for any volcanic area ever. So it's just associated with hot and lava every time it plays. Well, I always thought it was a weird thing. Like, we have a bunch of instruments that we associate to themes without even like really thinking about it. We just hear it and think, okay, that must be a volcanic area. Okay, that must be an underwater area. This must be a horror area. Things like that. And it's like, I wonder who it was the first person that put it there and went, yeah, that sounds volcano-y. And just put it together. Oh yeah, that sounds like something you'd expect to hear in an underwater temple. I think the only one that's always a bit more open and experimental are just grand fields. Because as long as the music sounds like you're going on some big grand thing, adventure or otherwise, it's fine. It's just got to sound big. That's free. Once you've got 2/3 of them, the music's tempo will pick up. Blow this up. There we go. Oh, this one's way out in the lighthouse. Yeah, we'll go for that next. Oddly enough, this bit's done fine. That bit hasn't turned into lava. I don't know if I'll make it. I think that's barely too far. Yep. Alright. Well, there's a heart pond right there, so it doesn't matter if she burnt her ass. Right, as soon as we turn this, the music will pick up. It's just going to be me talking about the soundtrack for most of this game. I can already tell. It's when I was going through Sonic Mania. But this soundtrack is just so brilliantly done. I love every second of it. It's just joy on the ears to listen to. Oop. They're not my favourite tracks in the soundtrack though. Like I said, my favourite ones are either both the Time Rift normal pieces, the Mafia Purple Rift is a very nice track that I really enjoy. A certain boss fight later on has got a really cool boss theme, but that's also also the best fight in the game, so I'm not surprised it has such a good theme. The final area of the game's got quite a nice piece of music, and nothing past other than that is bad. It's just not as memorable, and I'm probably gonna eat. Yep. That's the problem with the only problem with the platforming in this game. Also, I wall ran up that lava. All right.
5.
All right. She said that 5 rather loud. Anyway, the one issue is that Hat Kid likes to stick to the walls when you don't want her to. Like, I kind of wish, similar to all right, this. Why does problems only ever happen when I'm recording? But I kind of wish, similar to other games that have done platforming with wall running in the past, that it was either looser or there was a run button similar to like the sprint hat. Like if she only did the wall jumping when I was holding down the run button, I'd be fine with it, because then I could not do it when I'm done to do that little bit of precise platforming next to an object that's standing up. But instead I couldn't, and I ended up going up and down the wall when I didn't want to. And we've got more than enough ponds to last us a while now. Alright, so this last one. And the lava will somehow just magically transform into water with no repercussions to the land around it whatsoever. No rocks flying out everywhere or whatever. But the sky's still red and black and grim, for goodness sake. And now we need to head back over there to get our timepiece. There we go. Been saying that even when this platform is not that ridiculously tight, the platforming on this is some of the tightest and most enjoyable I've had in a platform in a while, because it's just so quick and easy, yet has enough extra little things under the hood to keep it interesting. There's enough to split the average from the speedrunners, is what I mean. And there's so many little tools in the map built to help you get around as well. I can see why speedrunners love this game. There we go. That should put us to 9, which is a healthy number, I think, for this part. I'll let the load screen pass, though. Right, so next time on A Hat in Time, we are going to properly head into Chapter 2, because I think we spent quite enough time in there now. But until then, you guys take care now. Let's see what we get in this. Oh god, that's terrible. That's boring. And alright, I guess we're going to that then. Anyway, see yous.